everyone, I'm Romy Swopes. I am the Partner Relationship Manager here at Everflow, and I am joined today by Helen Christoni. Correct me if I said that wrong.
That's right.
But we will be talking today about how to build performance-driving micro-influencer partnerships. And to kick things off, Helen, we'll just do some quick-fire questions. So first off, what is your role at Ideal Living? If you can tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I oversee all business development and partnerships here at Ideal.
Okay. And what led you to join the Ideal Living team?
So, Ideal Living is like a parent company to multiple home environment brands, Air Doctor, AquaTrue, and now AromaTrue. And I really enjoy working across a diverse portfolio of brands and different teams. So definitely they let me be very entrepreneurial here, and I get to work on a lot of different projects.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like having that diversity is huge with any role in an industry. It just makes you feel like you've got a lot more to go after. What initiative, when you look at your day-to-day or week-to-week, we'll take this week, for example, what initiative are you focusing on most this week?
Well, I mean, it's definitely Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? So
yeah.
The whole world is in Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And we, last year it's interesting because we felt a bit late, and we actually had partners coming to us and wanting to promote earlier than we were ready. So this year we were really ahead of the curve on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So the team and I have just been really busy executing this past week.
That's awesome. I definitely feel like this is like final stretch, getting everything ready to go. I'm sure, as though you say it's pretty busy, I'm sure it's also very exciting to a point.
Yeah, I was a little nervous to put some holiday vibes out there, but I'm like November 1st, Starbucks goes for it. So if Starbucks can do it, and if they're putting red cups everywhere, we can too. So
absolutely. I'm known for, I dive right into the holidays. Once pretty much Halloween has ended, I'm like, Christmas? I have no shame.
I think you skip right over Thanksgiving now.
I know it's hard to. I mean, I love Thanksgiving. Don't get me wrong. And my sister, her birthday is Thanksgiving, so she always growing up made sure nobody forgot Thanksgiving. But I'm definitely love the Christmas vibes. And when it comes to getting your start in the industry, how did that come about?
So, I started my industry in advertising, and I had worked in advertising for several years, and I felt a little bit like I was on the hamster wheel, and I really wanted to kind of dig more in and go client side, or brand side. And so I was introduced to Peter Spiegel and Katie Williams, who are the founders at Ideal Living. And I ended up coming to work for Peter and Katie. And and this is quite a long time ago. This is 17 years ago. And so Peter really mentored me in the beginning of my career. And they are both kind of pioneers in direct marketing. And so I was really, really lucky to have early mentors in my career that really taught me the ropes of direct marketing across different channels with different products. And he's always really supported me in chasing my career ambitions and goals. Even after a few years, I went out to pursue opportunities in beauty and then came back. So having them in my corner really has been great.
Yeah, having that support system and, helping you to grow from whichever industry you came from, I feel like that is just an absolute game changer. I mean, for me personally, I came from a total different industry when I started with Everflow, and I can attest to that myself, that having the good group of people around you that really want to build you up and help form your career is the absolute game-changing piece. So that's incredible.
Katie, always says, direct marketing isn't for the faint of heart. You can't be scared. You have to go out there and take some risks. And sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. So it's a really fantastic industry, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's amazing. And I feel like there's always more to learn, which is really intriguing about the industry as a whole, is you never get bored because it's forever growing, and, you get to grow with it and try different things. And like you said, you can't be scared to try those new things and put yourself out there and kind of test the grounds of what's going to work and what's not. I'll go into a little more detailed questions now. How do you specifically drive performance through influencers?
Well, I mean, first you really need to be set up for success, right? It starts with great product that delivers on its promise. And so that foremost is really important, that you have a really great product offering. And then you also have to really commit to, we really had to make commitment to our influencer program and to those relationships. We also need to ship products. We need to get products there on time. We need to have, robust customer service. So there are a lot of building blocks that go into having a really successful micro influencer program. And I really think customer service is one of the key benchmarks, because I always say, like, I don't want my influencers to be my customer service center. Like, they need to be able to get someone on the phone, and also me on the phone, like if something goes wrong, because they have thousands and thousands of followers, right? So it's really important that we can fix problems on the fly and then also deliver great product.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you made a great point with that. I mean, even though they are representing your brand, they don't know absolutely everything and have to be able to get those answers to their customers or followers, as you would say, as fast as possible, because we are kind of in this world where people want immediate answers and immediate resolutions.
So many places, right? So I mean, like, it could be like hitting them up in Facebook chat, sliding into their DMs on Instagram, posting on their posts. I mean, people can really, like, hit you in all different places. So the management of that is really interesting. It's very much like, it's really, when something goes sideways, it doesn't very often because we've been doing this for a long time, but you really have to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the influencers for Ideal Living, what do these particular influencers look like for you guys?
I think that it's what's most important for me is they really have a relationship with their followers, and it's organic, and that there is a back and forth conversation happening with whoever follows them. So that engagement is really important to me. And then also, I think it's super important that they're really talking in real life. I really love in real life influencer marketing, when products truly make a difference in someone's home, that they share from the heart. And so I think that like, I like it when it's just very real and not heavily produced. And so those are kind of the influencers I go for. And I'm not really so much into size. Like, nowadays, someone with 2,000 followers can post a link on Instagram or drive traffic on TikTok. I'm really more concerned with engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way as a consumer as I do, or anyone watching, is like, we can tell the difference between organic and just structured as straight up marketing. And I know that's important to me when I'm purchasing anything, when it comes to beauty, to household items, to anything. I want to know that you firmly believe that it works. I mean, I don't want to see you post one thing one day and then a totally different brand the next of the exact same product. It's hard to really have that trust. And in any partnerships, as I've learned, everything is about trust. So it's really cool to hear that, that's your baseline, not, oh, they have 1 million followers or they have a certain quota. It's truly about the relationship that they have. Because I know too, I always find it cool if like an influencer answers your comment, or they respond back to you when you ask questions about a product that they're representing. And having influencers for your brand that are able to do that and take the time to do that is really huge.
Yeah, and I think it's really about building a community. So when we started this, we're just trying to get some micro influencer traction, but what it has turned into is this really great community of like-minded people, promoting home environment products, so it started with, being an influencer program, and it's turned into this beautiful community. And, but, we did need to start, so.
Yes, absolutely. You got to start from somewhere. And right now, how many influencers do you guys have? And if you don't mind me asking, what kind of results are being delivered by them right now?
Sure. I mean, we have about 1,000 partners, and across all brands. So that's for Air Doctor and AquaTrue and our new brand Aromatru. And some of them, like they're in different shapes and sizes. We have some influencers that have been with us from the very beginning. I mean, a lot of them have. They've stayed with us, which is great. And they have been able to turn what was a hobby into like a full-fledged business. And we've had some people that have been so successful with us over the last few years that they've been able to, start their own brands and their own product lines based on the success of our partnership. So it's been really rewarding for us to, drive so much business through our channel, but then also, create such a great opportunity for our partners, for them to really, build their income and build this additional business that they didn't have before.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what you were saying about you guys built a community, because you get to see the win-wins and feel how the excitement they get when, they get the check for it, or they're building their own brands based off of their experience that they've had with you guys. And I can only imagine how awesome that feels, getting to hear their experiences, not only hear about them, but be a part of it, since you started this from the very beginning to now have the 1,000 you're talking about. And I'm sure you know them to a T of what's going on in their lives, what they're representing. And I think that's a really cool way to look at it.
Yeah, that's great.
And I want to take a step back too and kind of understand a little bit more about how you built this up from the early days. You did say you got to start somewhere. So what would you say led you to even trying influencers in the first place?
Sure. So, I had been, I was doing some consulting for Ideal Living. I had done several years in the beauty business, and I was doing some consulting, and Peter had shared with me, the CEO had shared with me that he had done a Kickstarter campaign. And he had done this before really Kickstarter campaigns were happening. He had done this for our brand AquaTrue. And so he had an email influencer send out a couple emails, do a couple posts, and that resulted in $1.4 million in pre-sale order. And when I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, you know what I mean?
It's a huge number.
I never really put home environment, and this was, I think, 4 years ago. So I didn't put home environment together with influencer marketing. And I also didn't put that price point with a swipe, I didn't think that people would be able to swipe up for a $400 price point and close in that story on Instagram that quick. But then I was like, you know what, we got to try this, we need to go in, we need to build your social presence. We need to make Air Doctor and AquaTrue have the influence, by really sharing engaging content. And then I put together this big crazy program of what I thought my big, dream in the sky was. And they were like, go for it, So it was great that they let me try this micro influencer program, because they were used to working with email experts that had these big lists, and I really went in after people that had 10,000 followers. That's where we started. And I remember I have social influencer 1 and 2, and let's say social influencer 1, he had 12,000 IG followers. And in his first month selling for us, we were able to write him a $15,000 check. And that was a really big deal. That was a game changer right there. And that's what kind of started the momentum. I mean, of course we made a lot of mistakes, but it was great.
But kind of like you said, you had to start somewhere, and you have to be able and willing to take that leap and try things. And because like you said, I feel like around that time, I don't think I ever would have thought about this type of brand being in accordance with influencers, same as you. Emails, yes, absolutely. But I feel like it's continuously growing, and it sounds like you kind of dove right in on the beginning of it and really made such a huge community of it. And, like you said, the 12,000 followers on Instagram to bring in a $15,000 check, that shows right there your ground zero for the type of influencers that you were wanting to bring in. He had that attachment to his community, and they trusted him, and he stuck with it. He didn't change who he was or what he was going for. He really just brought something that he loved and shared it with the people that had that trust with him. And did you find after influencer 1 and 2, as you were expanding, how did you get the traction with these influencers to start? Like, was there something that really stood out to you now looking back that was kind of like the game changer with that?
I mean, really, I have to say that I studied, I mean, I really dove into IG and like immersed myself in the health and wellness environment and kind of saw who like this group was within health and wellness that really had that engagement with their followers, but also that I thought that like we would like to be friends with, like they were speaking our language, they were based in science, they had a lot of really fact-based content, which was important to us. They weren't like irresponsible in how they talked about things. And at that time, not that many people were kind of like pitching with affiliate link these types of products. So it took a tremendous amount of training. And I still like training is definitely key in this business. I train once a month. I get on the phone and I train privately. I've got my team that gets on the phone with people. They answer their questions. I had, influencer 1 and 2. I mean, they were on the phone with our engineers, looking at the data or researching all our science. I mean, they had never really sold anything before, so for them to take the leap in faith on me, like it took a minute to really get them to the place where they were even comfortable. And then I think what's really important, like how we got traction is number 1, trust, and number 2 is referral and word of mouth. Like our products deliver on their products. I mean, their promise, and consumers really can tell a difference when they have our products in their home. And so once we started getting some runway, like we just didn't let up. So then we put a referral program in place. And then, our influencers were, and our partners were introducing us to their friends, and it just kind of ballooned. And we treat everybody the same way. I think that's really important, even if you're a brand new influencer, we're going to treat you the same way as someone that's been with us for a long time. Everybody gets the same shake with us. You get the same opportunity depending on how much work they want to put into their content creation.
Yeah, I feel like that's super important to influencers because, kind of like you mentioned to begin with, is it doesn't matter the quota of followers they have to work with you guys. It's about the community. So someone coming in with a smaller amount of follower base, they may feel a little bit like they might get less attention from a brand or less help from a brand than the ones that come in with millions of followers and like multiple accounts on all different platforms. But to hear like a brand such as yourself doesn't do that and treats everyone equally on the same level, I'm sure is something that really sticks with your influencers. And that's probably why it is such word of mouth and they're introducing you to their friends and their partners, because that's huge. I feel like that's not the same all across the board. And starting out like that is amazing. I love to hear that.
I think, like we didn't know it in the beginning, but we have really played the long game. So our influencers, our micro influencers that we started with, some of them are now mega influencers that have, hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million followers. So we might have started with them, in their early days, but we have stuck with them all the way through. And so that's one of the, like, we are really keen on, I always say shepherding the business is my number 1 job. And so, I mean, I make sure that we're always thinking of them. We're always training them. It's definitely a big family at this point. But, when you bet on someone in the beginning, to see them grow and their influence is really exciting. So it's been a great run watching some of these content creators start, and now they have their own businesses, their own brands. It's amazing.
Yeah, it goes back to what you said earlier. It's really rewarding to see them grow as people and their own brands and the stuff that they have going on alongside obviously growing within your brand. And that's incredible. And at this point, do you see expanding out on your influencers much as we look forward to like the next 6 months to a year? Or do you really find it more a slower progress with that long sight in view?
No, I mean, people every day are looking to invest in their health and wellness. It's definitely like when we started is a different time than it is right now. And so people consumers' ears are very open to their health and how to make their home a healthier place for them and their family. So every single day, there are new people getting new followers. And so it's really kind of like endless what you can do with influencers. And I don't think that, and there's always a different channel, like us, our big wins initially where it was an email and through Instagram for our micro influencers. Now you have TikTok, which we're exploring. We're digging more into YouTube, which is a really great channel on its own. People still have Facebook groups that they have that are really important. Like you've got those old school Facebookers that are still in there, Pinterest. I mean, and there's all these new influencer channels that are coming up every day. So I think it's really important that you have your finger on the pulse and you're willing to try new things. We're constantly trying new stuff, and sometimes it might not work, but at least we're playing, right? So it's a lot of fun because it's a very kind of like diverse time in influencer marketing and influencer recruitment, because there's so many different platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the different channels. Do you guys have one channel that is typical for your influencers? I know you're obviously expanding and trying all different kinds, but is one more prominent than the other for you guys?
Definitely IG and email have been our places where we focused a lot of our time and had a lot of our success. Also, that does extend to Facebook because IG and it's all Meta. And recently we're starting to see some traction on TikTok. I think like everyone's still trying to figure out TikTok.
I'm still trying to figure out TikTok.
And then, so primarily I think email is one of our benchmarks because it's just a really great way for people to communicate with their followers. So email is a really big part of our program. And then IG has been great. IG has done a lot of pivots over the last several years. There's been a lot of changes, but our micro influencers, definitely IG was a great platform for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And with TikTok and Instagram kind of going hand in hand with the reels now on Instagram, have you guys found that video is a big push now, or do you find it's with Instagram, you kind of stick with like your typical posting?
I think stories has always been our sweet spot, and reels are, it's kind of like quality versus quantity. With reels, you're going to get quantity. With stories, you're going to get quality. So, people are looking at reels for entertainment. It's like entertainment value, and it's not real sticky. When you're going through your stories, it's just a different physical motion, period, right? Like, so it's interesting, like the hand motions, and I'm sure there's a lot of behavioral stuff out there, but stories is definitely where we see most of our traction, but we get a lot of awareness and really top funnel stuff in reels, which is interesting.
That is really interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. You made a good point of how just the motion in itself is different between reels and stories. And I hadn't ever thought about it like that. And I think that now that I do, now you bring that to the top of my mind. When I look at stories, I kind of look at it more from a consumer point of view as like the real moments in any influencer's life that you follow. It seems more organic. So for that to be kind of where you get more traction, that makes a lot of sense because of that trust. And, you feel like you're almost talking to someone when you're going through their stories rather than just watching a video on TikTok or Reels.
Yeah, and they're definitely talking to you, right? Like that's where that communication is coming from. It's definitely coming through in story. They're more often than not on their phone having a direct conversation, and reels are curated, they're edited. They're a little different. So I think reels are amazing, and we have a lot of our partners raise a lot of awareness through reels. But I think story is where you're getting a lot of that real information. Feed, and I think at this point, feed's just kind of like a website, it's like your homepage, and there's not much going on in feed, but stories and reels for sure is where it's at.
That's an incredible way to look at it. Now I'm going to remember that as I am going through things myself. And when you start signing up new influencers to work with you guys, how do you get them activated? I know you mentioned a lot of training, but is there kind of a process that you go through from that initial onboarding?
Sure. When we reach out, or if they reach out to us, we have them sign up via an Everflow link. And so we send them an Everflow link. They sign up through the Everflow program. And sometimes we also have it on our websites where people can just sign up to be an affiliate, where we go through an approval process and a vetting process. Once someone is onboarded, we send them brand information. Well, if they don't have products already, like we have a lot of customers that have turned into micro influencers. And so if they don't have product, we'll send them out some product that they can try on their own. I do training once a month where I really go through Air Doctor, AquaTrue, and AromaTrue and the science. So people really understand the impact of clean air, the impact of clean water, what kind of icky stuff is coming out of tap waters in people's homes. And then also, our new brand, our aromatherapy brand, like what sets us apart from everything else out there. And then I kind of we allow our micro influencer partners to create their own content. I don't have a lot of benchmarks that they had. I really want them to share their own organic experience. So I'm pretty open on the content that they post. And so that's how we set people up.
Does the content typically have to be approved before it goes out, or are you okay with them trusting them to kind of go about it in the organic way that all the way through?
We provide information. So we provide training information, and also I do these in-person trainings. So I'm pretty confident with them doing organic content. When it's in writing, we definitely like to have approvals when things are going out via email. But we watch our new partners really closely. We give them feedback. We do some coaching, to make sure that they're on point with our brand messaging and the science, most importantly.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned like the trainings and keeping up with them and kind of what they're doing. When they really start to see results, how do you help them scale their efforts even further?
And it's really important that you are our micro influencer and social partner channel is a channel, and so we have to feed that just like you would feed your paid social channel or your remarketing channel. You really need to get in and put a content calendar together and give them like tools to grow their business. And so we're always thinking about really great ideas for them to do different types of promotions. We create different offers for them. I think that's really important, that we just don't have the same offer on repeat over and over and over again all year. We mix it up and give them something else to talk about. I think that's one of the keys of micro influencer marketing. And then we also do things like run contests, do collabs if they need help with something. One of the things that I really love to do is, let's say I have, a Facebook influencer or an Instagram influencer that really wants to learn how to get into email marketing. Like, we'll sit and we'll help them and we'll figure it out together on how they build their list, what that content looks like. And so there's definitely a lot of collaboration with our community now on how they can grow their business.
That's incredible that you guys actually take the time to sit down and help them grow different areas of their own business, because I'm sure, working with you guys aside, that helps them back to square one and talking about the community. It helps them build their own personal brand and really expand on that in general. Do you guys find that looking at your community and going forward, do you have any goals in mind for the next year as where you want them to take it? Like, do you want to try a total different platform and put your focus there, or expand your influencers to a certain number? Do you have like a goal in mind when it comes to the next year?
I mean, I think that, we've been really fortunate. There's so much work that's gone into this community. And so number one, I think like I said before, I think shepherding our relationships is number one. And shepherding the business and making sure that we're able to ship on time, pay on time, answer customer service inquiries on time. That's all very important to us. And we're in a place where we can put the gas on or off our micro influencer partnerships program. So what we're trying to do is really diversify and kind of explore new platforms that we're not necessarily, fully in yet, and while still maintaining our core business. And so I think that as the landscape changes, like my big goal is just to stay in it, and we really, when I say stay in it, I mean, like literally, like our social pages, I'm reading the DMs. We have people answering everybody's question. It's truly organic. Like none of this is bought, so I mean, our team's expanding. I think one way that we're really changing is being a little bit more efficient in our outreach and being more niche in our asks. I mean, you can go out and contact, 10,000 people and say, hey, come be a micro influencer, but who do we want them to talk to? So I think narrowing new segments of people, like everybody deserves to breathe clean air and have clean water, right? So the sky's the limit. So perhaps, I want to go over dance studios, or someone that's into gardening, or there's so many niche markets that you can go out and target. So I think that's really it. Like health and wellness, we've done so well in this space, but just going out there and reaching more people about having a more non-toxic home is just a super important message. And so I think more is more, and my goal is to expand into different categories.
I love that. And like I kind of said earlier, there's really no limit. That's forever changing in this industry. So, and you guys have an amazing platform and brand that, like you said, everyone needs it. Everyone needs clean air and clean water. And you really have that ability to go into those different branches. And I know when we first hopped on, you kind of brought up how it's really game time for Black Friday and Christmas coming up and all the other holidays. When it comes to what your influencers are sharing and promoting this time, do you kind of make sure that, or I guess not make sure because it is organic, but the offers that you are giving them, since it is within the health and beauty and wellness industry, a lot of the people that they're promoting to or their followers probably follow a lot of the similar pages. Do you kind of monitor it to make sure that it's not like the followers aren't seeing the same ad or same promotion happen over and over, or how does that kind of work for you guys?
We don't actually. Like what we do is we control the algorithm, right?
Okay.
And so, there is a very big message out there that, giving the gift of clean air and clean water is a really great thing to do this holiday season. Like what better gift, So,
Yes.
so I'm not scared to make noise. I think on social more is more. And you really need to push the algorithm forward, And so the best way to do that is having everybody go at the same time, so we have our evergreen, we have so many people that regularly post evergreen content about our brands, but at this time of year, I think that it's a lot of fun, to see kind of everybody having such great deals, and then the consumer can pick, like who they want to shop with. They can shop with us, they can shop with them, they can shop with anybody, but definitely we put some really special deals out there for our partners that are amazing, and everybody truly benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. And you made a great point. More is more on social media. And it's 100% true. Looking at it from a consumer point of view, if I see something one day and I like it, I might talk myself out of it. Like, oh, I'm going to wait, or maybe next year, I don't need it right now. But if I see it again and again, I'm like, okay, maybe it's time. Maybe I want to do this now. And, you made another great point of you get to choose who you purchase it through. So whether it be the brand itself, because you're just diehard loyal to it, or it's just the easiest route to go, or one of your influencers that and follow and trust and have that community with, and really have found that everything that they've talked about previously, like you're a firm believer in, you have that opportunity in this season to support them as well as the brand. And I think that's what a lot of people, especially on Instagram and social media as a whole, as consumers, kind of look at it as like, they're like, oh, I'm buying for my friend. I'm making sure my friend gets commission. Or like, I know I do it. I'm like, oh, she just announced she's having a baby. Like I'm going to buy through her. Like I want to make sure she's like getting commission from it. And it goes back to that trust and organicness coming from these influencers.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's really important is you have the conversion, right? But then you have the opening, and then you have the content that follows the conversion. So it's really like a 1-2 with micro influencers. Once they have a conversion, that's awesome. But then what will happen is in a couple weeks, like whatever follower gets that product is going to share it on social media. And so training that learned behavior is really important, and so they want to show that like who they bought it from, like, hey, I supported you, and they're going to tag them, they're going to tag us, you're going to see all that's almost like that. I mean, that is where the magic is, really. It's that unboxing that happens. And so then you get like another bite out of the apple, because then you have people like asking that person like, hey, like, where'd you get that Air Doctor? And that's water cooler stuff. That is something that it like money can't buy, so that magic, when you have consumers doing their unboxing, they're really just tagging the people that they bought it from in the company. Therein lies really, and they're introducing our brand to so many other people. So there's many layers to this onion, and it's real fun to see it grow.
Yeah, because you can't, like you said, you can't pay for that, and you don't know exactly what direction it's going to go in. But 99% of the time, I feel like it's truly that onion layers of more word of mouth. The unboxing is huge. Some people have accounts that are just strictly unboxing, which I remember when that first started happening, absolutely blew my mind. Like, that's like a thing that people just want to watch. And it is, because it's intriguing and you get to see the different things that they're trying and where they got it from and the brand that they got it from. And it's truly incredible to see everything unfold. And like now, being more on like the tech industry side, I feel like as a consumer now, I see so much more than I did before, which is really cool. And being so with things ever changing, and you just talked a little bit about the strategy you have, diving more into different areas to kind of see where you can expand. Do you think anything could potentially come down the line that would change the way you look at your influencer strategy? Or do you think that it's pretty much this industry and the route that it's going is going to pretty much stay the same?
I think it changes every day. I think that social influencer and partnership marketing, regardless of what platform it's on, I mean, a privacy law can change, TikTok can switch to static posts, Meta can do some big pivot. I mean, we all know that, any little thing can really disrupt the industry. So I think like making sure that you don't get complacent and you're always trying new things is really important, because you don't want to be like trying to figure something out on the fly, so I'm very into researching different channels and different channel opportunities, different type of content opportunities, I think is very important. And we're constantly testing things here. We're always testing. And so, I really think testing is key. And yeah, like tomorrow, tomorrow someone could say, oh, you can't post a link on Instagram anymore. It can happen, and we're going to have to pivot. But, I'm confident that we'd be able to.
Yeah, I think that, brands like yours have to kind of have your like minds always rolling with it, which is opening the opportunities for the testing, like you said, but also opens the doors for moments like you had a few years back when you first dove into this industry. You threw yourself out there and you tried, and look how incredible it turned out. And that could be what happens from one of your tests. And like you said, a link could stop tomorrow, and it does, out of just problems with Instagram. And your influencers have to figure out how, okay, I was supposed to do this today. How am I going to do it differently? Instagram's broken, or Facebook Marketplace isn't opening correctly, or my link is just showing up as an error. And unfortunately, with these things being in the tech, we have to be able to learn how to work around them. Do you have, and like you said, it happens and there's no preventing it. There's no stopping it or getting it. The only thing you can do is try your best to be able to get in front of it when it does happen. And would you say that you guys have like people on your team that specifically work around that, or is everyone kind of consistently working on game planning for those types of situations?
We definitely have people that are I have a whole team that's on the ground that are currently looking at people's links, testing people's links. I mean, it's very important. And, there's always a level of human, like despite how techie we get, there's always a level of human touch, which I think is a really good thing. So we have so many people on the team. They really dig in. Everybody has like their own really special relationships with people. And like, we know, like one of the last promotions we had back to school time, none of the Instagram links were working. Sometimes they work, sometimes they weren't. So, and of course it was in line with our promotion and we just had to stay in it,
Yep.
And figure it out. So everybody really is, we are people. This isn't bot driven. We're not a platform. And it's very important, I think, for the community that we've built, that they know they can get somebody on the phone. Like at any time of day or night or weekend, if someone's really having a problem, they can find me, And so I think that gives that level of trust and peace of mind to our partners. Like if something really goes sideways, I'm just going to pick up the phone and call Helen or Jeff or someone here on the team.
Absolutely. It's the trust and like almost safety, because I know, myself, but I'm sure everyone out there kind of has that like, okay, I'm going to do this, but what if something goes wrong? Like, and it might delay you because you're like worried about it being, us perfectionists out there worried about it being perfect, or just, that back of mind. What if my link breaks? Is it going to do this? To know that they can reach you personally and have that issue solved right away is incredible. And I'm sure just makes them love being a part of your community so much more. I know I would. Well, Helen, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been honestly such an insightful conversation. And I know I truly have learned so much, and I'm sure everyone else watching has as well. I do want to take this moment to go ahead and announce the winner of the Air Doctor 3000, courtesy of you guys at Ideal Living. I'm going to choose just directly from our participants today. And if you guys, I'm going to announce the name now, but if you can just drop your email, let's see if I have it right here. Angela Jimenez. If you could just drop your email address in the comment section, that way you can claim your prize. Congratulations, and thank you, Ideal Living, for providing this. This is incredible. And before we sign off, Helen, I have one last question for you. How can people learn more about Ideal Living and reach out to you directly with any follow-ups they may have?
Oh, sure. So Ideal Living, we're a home environment brands. And so we have our Air Doctor brand, which is at-home air purification. We have AquaTrue, and that's reverse osmosis countertop systems and under sink systems for clean, pure water. And then we have our new brand AromaTrue, which is waterless aromatherapy, which is really, really cool. So I'm looking to do business with people. Like I'm currently looking for publishers. I'm always ready to make a deal. So you can find me at Helen Christoni on LinkedIn, Helen Christoni on Instagram, or I'm H Christoni at Ideal Living. And so I'm looking for publishers. So if you're looking for home environment products, call me.
Awesome. You guys heard her. If you're a publisher, get a hold of her. This is awesome. Helen, thank you again. It has been such a joy, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, Remy. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.